What's popular YouTube? Another day, another video. Today I am here with you to watch this video. I'm going to do a reaction to the CS2 profile that was shot of me by ESL and aired during Cologne a couple days ago. And I have just left. I have come home quick. Haven't seen this office before. Got everything set up. I'm in new place at the moment. Very happy here. Very comfortable. And yes, once again, Connor and I did not qualify to the playoffs of IEM Cologne. They said if Liquid qualified, we could stay. Just kidding. Maybe next year. No, that's the only event that I haven't been to the actual stadium. It's Cologne. I've never been in the LANXS. The LANXS, don't even know how to say it because I've never been there. And hopefully one day we will. Now, just to be frank, we're not. Priority is at ESL. And I mean that with no hard feelings whatsoever. Me and Connor do plenty at Blast. We do all their grand finals. We are treated like kings over there. Very happy with that. And when we go to ESL, it's very awesome for us. We get to hang out with all of our friends that we don't get to see for some of the year. And we are quite happy to be a part of the, stage 1 and stage 2 events like Cologne. And honestly, I've been gone for 3 weeks on the road after doing Blast groups in the first week of Cologne. I'm happy to be back. Just moved in this place 4 days before we left. So, really wanted to get back in anyway. And also, how can I say that ESL don't treat us well when they came to Toronto to shoot a profile of me over the break? Okay. So this is something that I was not looking forward to doing a reaction video like this, too, because I don't want to watch it anymore. I watched it once when it came out. I watched it with my girlfriend here, and then that's it. Showed it to everybody, but it's kind of weird watching myself in this capacity. It's very personal. But I thought this would be a good way to get easy views for my YouTube channel. And I haven't uploaded because I've been so busy. So double excuse. And also, I want everyone to see this. It's made really well. Tom, Becky, and Jake, and a couple other guys flew in from London to Toronto. Tom Newman, he's done some player profiles in the past. He did the Gucci Academy shoot for Face It. He did the ROPS player profile. He did a Stewie one, I believe. He did the Memories of CSGO documentary that you guys saw recently that Henry G was the host of. And a part 2 is coming out of that. And yeah, 2 days over the tournament break, they flew down to Toronto because I did this podcast with Freya talking about my past. And then I think she recommended to Tom to come and shoot. And so we got to make this video that has everybody I love in it almost. Almost. If you're not in it, I still love you, okay? And I'm going to try not to talk too much, but let's just play the video and react for views. Hi, my name is Mohan Govindasamy, aka Launders. I'm a professional Counter-Strike commentator, YouTuber, and owner of the Best Dressed Movement community, Boxer. Gaming is something I've been addicted to since my earliest memories. I was literally Ferris Bueller. I set a record in grade 8 for skipping the most days in school. Skipped almost half the year pretending to be sick because I was so addicted. Okay, also, one more thing. I won't interrupt this video again, I promise. If you haven't watched this video before, I just recommend going and watching the actual YouTube video instead of this video where I'm reacting to it with my face on the screen and pausing and talking, okay? I don't know. I guess that's implied. I'll link to it in the comments. Just go watch the video so you don't have to deal with this. The StarCraft Brood War. This will be just extra stuff that wasn't mentioned here that I want to bring up. I remember I was always sick in 8th grade.
Yeah.
But I was just pretending sometimes.
Yeah. You just burp chocolate milk or something and you wouldn't go to school.
But you always let me stay home.
Yeah.
I remember I asked you, why are you so nice to me when I was a kid? And you said, because you didn't have a childhood.
Yeah.
When you were growing up. You know? So you're always super nice to me. My grandmother was an orphan who had 5 sons and 3 girls, including my mom. My mom was born in India in Madras, now known as Chennai. She migrated to Malaysia when she was very young and was raised there until well into her early adult life. Growing up in Malaysia?
Yeah.
Mom was an orphan?
Yeah, she was orphan.
My grandma.
She always cried.
She always cried?
Yeah,
But she also...
because she doesn't have Doesn't have any brothers or sisters.
Oh, yeah.
She was the only child.
I remember when she died, you didn't even tell me.
Really?
Yeah. It was like a week where you looked sad.
Yeah, I didn't even go for funeral because I want to remember her, how happy she was.
Yeah, you always said good things about your mom. My mom is like always happy all the time. And like, she was both very talkative, but also gave me complete personal space. Like in my own room, she would yell at me to come eat sometimes, but otherwise I was my room was allowed to be messy. The entire house is spotless up until you got to my doorway, then my room is a mess. And I just remember one week where she was sitting on the couch and just drinking her coffee every day, and she was just like, looked kind of, melancholic, I guess. And I think that I kind of tuned into it. I was like, oh, what's wrong? But I remember thinking it was my fault because it was like, man, she's finally put up with, like, can't put up with my shit anymore. She's like really worried about me because I was like not coming home sometimes. I was like, I was doing some other stuff, and like I was like, oh, maybe she learned about something. So I immediately thought it was about me. But after she told me that it was her mom died, and she didn't tell me, it was years later.
Yeah, she really she took care of 8 kids.
Yeah, I know, it's hard.
Yeah.
You guys are brushing your teeth with charcoal, right?
Yeah, and like 3 sticks and all that. We had bad teeth.
Yeah.
All of us we couldn't afford a dentist.
Yeah.
So we had bad teeth.
Being born first of 8 siblings meant that, well, you became the sous chef, dry cleaner, and maid of honor to all the siblings who were younger than you. Dating and marriage in your own life became a second priority to the duties to the tirelessly working mother of 8, who knows exactly how to help make dinner so that the chapatis aren't served cold. You had to cook for everyone.
Right.
You had to take care of everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah,
right.
and then you also couldn't get married until everyone else got married, right?
Right.
So then how'd you meet Dad?
I used to buy this special movie magazine, and at the end of the magazine there would be like pen piles.
Yeah.
And I had many of them, like 3 or 4. And then I enjoy when I come back from work. There's a letter waiting for me.
Yeah.
And that's how we connected.
And then you
went to 7-Eleven every day.
You went to 7-Eleven? What, to get a hot dog, or?
Yeah, I had a drink,
and then you got married?
Yeah, and then we got married.
You got married? You had to run away from home to get married. And then you chose to come to Canada.
Yes, he chose. No, he wanted to go to Switzerland.
Switzerland?
Yeah.
I was almost Swiss.
He wanted to go to Switzerland, but then his friend in Montreal wrote a letter to him to come over.
And then I was born in Montreal.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. It was cold there.
Yes, it's really cold.
Yeah, but do you like Canada?
I like Canada.
I lived in Montreal until I was like 2 years old. And then we moved. And then we came to like London, Ontario, and then Toronto when I was like 3 or 4.
I love Canada.
Yeah.
I love Canada.
We love Canada in this household.
Yeah.
You always say good things about Canada.
Yeah. They gave me everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up in Toronto, we do love internet cafe culture was massive. Every internet cafe had the same 2 posters on the windows. One for Counter-Strike and one for StarCraft.
1.6, baby, 1.6. Yeah,
it feels like it was always like present.
After school, you'd go home. These are 2 of my best friends. Brandon, who's behind the bar, actually is a manager at Shoshin, the restaurant we're at. They just got their Michelin star like last year. And I remember that right 2017 is when I moved to go work at Yahoo. I got the job at Yahoo and I left the country. And we all came to Shoshin to celebrate. And then Brandon the next week applied for a job here. And now he's a manager there. And they've sent him to Japan to do like food tastings and learn more about Japanese food. And this is an omakase sushi restaurant. It's like the best one in Toronto by far. So they got to let us come in and shoot in this a beautiful space. Get a toonie from your parents, buy an hour at Cybernet, and run offline games 1.3. Literally the best days of our lives.
He wasn't the best gamer. We kicked his ass a lot. Yeah. Like there were a few games where he was Third Strike, untouchable. I could not touch you with Third Strike. But for the most.
Third Strike, I was the best. Jits, I was the best by far. Like table, I don't know what you guys call it. It's like table soccer. what's jits? We call it jits. Foosball. Yeah, I was insane at that. And then I played a lot of games. Like I played more Counter-Strike than them, and I played StarCraft like the most, and no one else played StarCraft.
Most part,
But Daniel was definitely the best at Dota.
like Dota, you were probably bottom half.
I used to tell my mom that I had to print out my homework because I didn't have a computer until I was 12.
Because I remember you would play a bunch of stuff that we wouldn't at the internet cafe. Like you were huge into StarCraft. None of us ever played StarCraft,
Yeah,
right?
it was StarCraft.
Yeah.
I only played that like by
I
myself.
remember we used to share a story about how you had to break your StarCraft CD because you were just playing way too much.
Yeah, we're all gaming addicts at the
beautiful.
end.
And Daniel, the guy on the right here, or the guy right beside me on my left, is the guy the reason I started rapping. And none of that got into the doc, and there was a few videos that were supposed to be in here. But yeah, it was he was the reason I started rapping. He was so good that the story was when we were in high school, we started rapping together, and I just saw the talent in him. And I was the kind of guy like, don't ever let me find out you're good at something, or I'm gonna make you do it. And I made Daniel like try to become famous basically because I was projecting, because like I just thought if you have a talent, you should never waste it. And so like I put so much pressure on him to like be famous and everything, and he just didn't really want to do it. He was a super shy kid. But as you can see, he was also really good in front of the camera, and I still think he would have been a famous rapper for sure.
That day.
Yeah.
It was probably single-handedly the reason I didn't graduate.
In high school, I was a total degenerate. Failed half my classes, went to a bottom 4% high school in Toronto, stayed 2 extra years, and then I flunked out again. When do we meet each other?
High school,
High school, yeah.
we were in McDonald's.
Yeah, we were smoking cigarettes outside McDonald's. And I remember like the first year I got there, the math teacher on the 3rd floor got chased around the top floor with a machete.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was like my introduction. You know, it was like the classic. You pick a beef in the middle of the school day, then you go out to the alleyway, and then there would just be an enormous fight. My school was like crazy, man. The first year I moved in there were so many, and like I was friends with me and my friends basically like no one fucked with us, but we weren't like the coolest or the toughest or gang affiliated or anything like that. The guy I hung out with was just like really popular, and I was just like in his orbit sort of. So like my life in the school was fine, but and I remember like my first year, my friend who was Vietnamese, he had to switch schools because he got confused by someone else who was in a Fujianese Dragons gang, and literally like he got threatened and literally couldn't come back to school and had to change high schools. Like one of my only friends in high school when I like first went in there. And we had so many gangs that like, man, some crazy stuff happened. I'm even on Cable Pulse 24 once because I skipped half the school day, and then I came outside. It used to be called Central Commerce. Now it's called Central Technical Academy, I think, CTA. And I remember this is my first introduction to what the news does, okay? Because CP24 is like the 24-hour news channel that everyone had on in Toronto on their TV. It was burned into your plasma screen at home, you know? And there was a stabbing at the school. And what happened was this kid got stabbed, and then he ran out of the school like bleeding and ran all the way down to Queen Street and had like a co-op at a veterinarian and literally went inside of that as he got chased downtown. Then they locked down the school, and then I couldn't get inside, and I was trying to get inside for 3rd period, but because someone got stabbed, you couldn't get back inside. And we were just standing outside, and all the camera crews from all the different like CB24, City TV, City News, everything were all outside doing interviews with students. And I did this lengthy interview with the news, okay? That's why you can't trust these people. Like 15 minutes talking about my school and the area. And then one line where I said, we knew something like this would happen. That's the only thing I said. They clipped that out and put that in a highlight reel of people saying that this is like expected to happen at a school like this. And that was so out of context. I couldn't believe it. And when I watched it back, I was like, no way, I was on TV. You know, I watched it back. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is some nonsense. That was my first experience with the news. Listen, be careful what you say, okay? It is like if you're ever on the news. when you grow up in that environment, you got to basically pick. You want to be a nerd and get picked on, or do you want to like survive? So that's when I put on the 2XLTs. Also, I had this teacher named Mr. Williams. Now, I was never a good student. I was probably smarter than most of the kids in my class in like grade 9, but I was not a good student. I wouldn't even say I was that smart. I was just smarter than half the kids in my school, which was definitely not one of the best schools. But I remember I had a teacher who loved me because he could kind of see that I was smart in grade 9. His name was Mr. Williams. And, you know, he invested a lot into me, like always talked to me, always tried to get me on the right track. And I remember halfway through the semester, I literally started changing all my clothes. I was hanging out with a different crew. I was literally, because if you didn't, like you didn't fit in, you were going to get picked on, you were going to get, you know what I mean? It was just, it's not even that I didn't like wearing that stuff or hanging out with like cooler kids, so to speak, but it's just that like you just did it, you know? And I remember Mr. Williams, I'll never forget this. I walked in one day halfway through the semester. I like failed to bring in some homework that he expected everyone to do. I skipped everyone else's class, but I always went to his, and I finally did something bad in his class. And he went, Mohan, when I met you, you were here, and now you're here. And I was like, fuck. That one fucking hurt. That one fucking hurt. That was tough. I had been working every job imaginable since I was 16. McDonald's, selling furniture, telemarketing, construction cleanup, butcher shop. At one point, by the way, I just went to the butcher shop yesterday to go and say, to see who was there. And it's in St. Lawrence Market, which is one of the most famous markets in Canada. And so it used to be called Manos. Let me just switch this up really quick. It used to be called Manos Meats. That's where I was at. That's the stall that I worked at. It's the first one when you walk into St. Lawrence Market on the right. And now it's called Carniceros. You see that. And I went to the stall across the way, which was called Brown Brothers. And yesterday, and I said, hey, you know, like 12 years ago, I worked here, whatever, my Korean friend Ken and his dad. And I just forgot the name of the place. And he was like, oh, Manos Meats. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I remember you. Used to be a little bit skinnier. And now you're just you gained a little bit of weight. And I was like, no way. Like, I don't even remember coming to say hi to you. But everyone who works there has worked there for so long. I was cold calling people and selling meat in a freezer. And you had to sell the freezer too. Yeah. We were basically like in our friends' apartments, like cutting hair.
Cutting hair, playing poker, trying to take money from my friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were basically just hustling all the time. Like that's it. Like anywhere we can make a few bucks or like save money, like cutting our friends' hair, like that's how we grew up. I remember they removed a bench on my block. Like the city removed a cement bench from the sidewalk because I was selling weed there. But I didn't do anything too bad. And weed's legal now, so it's all good, right?
Yeah, it's good.
I had a whole career of stealing. I don't know how to get into that. Yeah, I wasn't too proud to bring that up in the doc, to be honest. I asked them to remove that line, but it was, I mean, we were in high school, so whatever. But yeah, they did remove like a concrete or cement bench like out of the, I remember I used to sit there every day after school, and we just kind of create we kind of ruined that street corner. It was behind another butcher shop where I used to live. And there would just be people hanging out, like, you know, and the orbit just got so big. It was just like full of people who would come and see me, and I would sell weed, and then we all hang out and be smoking, and cops would come drive through the alleyways sometimes to like check on us. Yeah, I got some crazy stories from then. I don't know what I should share, but yeah, weed's totally legal now. People even selling shrooms in the stores in Toronto now, so it's not even a big deal. But back then, man, yeah, it was dangerous. I remember, one time I had one of those string bags. It was like a Jordan string bag, okay? And on the side of the string bag, there was a zipper, okay? And a zipper pocket, so halfway up. But most string bags don't have a zipper pocket halfway up. And I remember I had a bunch of weed in there, all bagged up. All right. And then in the big pocket that you open up with the strings, at the bottom, I had a scale, and I had a T-shirt and it was folded, and I just put it at the bottom. And I remember like cop drove by me in the alleyway, and we were smoking weed. Okay, so I was high. I was paranoid. I was scared. Okay, and it was the first time we saw the cops driving through the alleyway beside us. They got out of the car, said, "Hey, you got weed?" I was like, "No," obviously, because I'm like, it was like, it was a lot, and it was a lot, and it was a lot, and I would have got arrested for sure. And I remember I didn't really know my rights, like being like 16, 17. I didn't really know what I couldn't say no to, what I had to say no to, or whatever. And they asked me questions like, can we look in your bag? I was like, yeah. Cause I was like, if I say no, what does that mean? What's going to happen? Like I was high too. Like my eyes were red. We smelled like weed. I just dropped a roach like underneath the bench. I was like, they know, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I remember one of his officer and his buddy, what's it called? Like whatever, the guy he's with, the other officer who's riding, they ride in pairs. That guy grabbed my bag and he's like looking through my bag, right? And I have a scale at the bottom, some crumbs on it, some resin. And by the way, I haven't smoked weed in 10 years. I don't even smoke weed anymore. I also don't recommend it. I don't think it's good. I'm not going to get into that. Anyways, scale at the bottom of the bag. And he's looking through the bag, right? And he's really confused because he's looking through the bag. He sees a scale. There's like a little bit of crumbs. There's a T-shirt. That's it. It's all he sees, all right? On the side of the bag, there's a zipper pocket that has like a lot of weed in it, all bagged up individually. And there's a fold over top of the zipper, so you can't see it unless you like open it up. But like, since I know the bag, I'm just thinking he's eventually going to find this. Never finds it. The other officer is asking if he can search me. So he's like, I'm just going to like poke parts of your body. And he's like, is that okay? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I didn't have anything to be worried about. So I'm standing there. My head is like literally shaking. Like my head is like shaking because I'm so scared. And he's like touching parts of my body like this. Because they're just trying to figure out, like, how is this guy so nervous? And he doesn't have any weed, but he has a scale like this. Something doesn't add up. They're like looking around the park. They're asking me questions. And then finally, the one officer looks at me and he's like, are you high? I was like, yeah, I just smoked. And then he looks at his friend. I keep saying friend, like the other officer. And he goes, oh, he's fucking high. And they thought that the whole time I was nervous because I was high. Not because I had, fucking half an ounce in this pocket, okay? That was in a zipper. In the bag that the other officer was holding, and they never found it. There was one day I vividly remember when I was working as a butcher at St. Lawrence Market, getting up at 4 a.m., getting into a truck with my Korean friend Ken and his dad, grabbing frozen stock from the walk-in meat freezer in the basement, hands chilled solid, getting followed home by dogs because I walked out smelling like raw chicken every weekend. I had a moment that I never had before. I asked my mom. This is also during the G20 riots. The subways were shut down. They were rioting, breaking the glass on all the stores and shit, and I had to walk home. Mom, if it was okay that I quit my job. But I remember I was scared to tell you that I wanted to quit.
Yeah.
Because you always worked, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. So I felt like a bum. But then I came home, I asked you if I could quit.
Yeah.
And then you said, yeah, just quit if you're unhappy.
Yeah, I know. I don't like you to be unhappy.
Yeah. I think looking back, that moment made me realize that my mom was the center of my world. How could I quit my job when my mom quietly earned for both of us alone for my entire childhood? When I was younger, me and my mom grew up in the group home system in Toronto after some immigration problems that sent my dad back to Malaysia. Before I filmed this, I asked her what I could say about it, and she said, don't say anything bad about the people who help take care of us. So, true. Nellie's was the name of the group home that we grew up in.
Yes.
Yeah. People used to call it a halfway home, right?
Yeah, like if you have nowhere to go, where would you go? I have no family, no money, no whatever. So I lived in Nellie's for 4 years.
Yeah, we lived there for 4 years.
Yeah, and they really took care of us.
Yeah, they did. They did a good job.
Yeah.
After we lived in Nellie's, we went to Havelock. We went to, and that was a women's shelter. I was only allowed to live there because I was just a kid. And
they were
yeah.
so good to you, right?
Yeah, I remember I learned how to ride a bike there. I always celebrate my birthday there. I remember I got a Game Boy. Someone had donated it.
Yeah, like you had all the toys in the world.
Yeah. Like I always think about us as an example of the system working well, you know? And I think a lot of those group homes and stuff, they get a bad reputation.
Right.
But we had a good time.
We had a good time.
Yeah, we had a good time. We got lucky. I would say that's my memory too. I had lots of friends, and even when we left when I was 11, I had nothing but great things to say about that part of my life. This is home for me. Behind me is the women's shelter that I lived in from when I was... I can't watch this fucking part, man. I can't believe they did this shit. 6 years old till I was like 11. And me and my mom came here because we overstayed our welcome at the group home. Because most people don't live there for 4 or more years. And I remember like all the kids that would come back from school, everyone would come back from Deucin and walk into the park, and I would just be like lying there sunbathing on the roof, and all their parents would be yelling at me like, "I'm gonna tell your mom if you don't get off that roof." And I didn't care. I was having the best time. And yeah, it's just a beautiful place. We were poor, but I don't remember a single time that my mom ever even brought up money. I used to go to work with... That's got to be the most impressive part about my mom, of all the, you know, amazing things about her. That's something I also only realized after, you know, when it became an adult, but she never brought up money once in my life. I mean, we had what I realize now was like the bare minimum, but I was never burdened. And I say this knowing like how much my friends, you know, who were growing up in the same sort of situation, almost all my friends who I grew up with either had like, you know, grew up just their mom or their dad beat them up, or, you know, shit ass areas. Like my friends lived in Jane and Finch. Like it's super unfair, you know, like even if you're a good person, it's way harder. It's way harder. And I realized one of the massive advantages for me is my mom just worked so hard and didn't ever brag about it. To the point that like I literally couldn't even notice. I didn't even notice. You know, with her to her cash jobs at secondhand clothing stores. And I loved it. Yeah, and the Havelock, that was when I started going to 2-for-1 pizza. This pizza slice is best like, part. It's so weird because it's just a pizza slice, but it's such a big part of growing up. Yeah. Like this is one of my birthday parties, right?
I thought you might get a heart attack or something, like eating cheese every day, you know? Yeah.
We just grew up in this area, but this is like the best pizza in the whole city.
Yeah.
And it's the same guys are still living there. Legit, this guy, okay, after we filmed, this is awesome, by the way. Getting to go back here, I've never done that. And, you know, lived down there for like 25 years or something when I was growing up. Got pizza here every day since I was like 4 or 5 years old. It's just so happens to be one of the best pizza spots in the whole city. It's my favorite for sure. And these guys, like 2-for-1 Pizza is a franchise, okay? And mostly the 2-for-1s in the city are garbage. And there's a couple of people who'll be like, 2-for-1 Pizza, like, why would you go to 2-for-1 Pizza? They aren't really listening. It's a franchise, which means each person owns a different one and they make their pizza a different way. This one is at Havelock and Bloor in Toronto. And these guys who have been living there have been working here since I was a kid. Okay. Riza and Kolam are the guys who are here. You'll definitely see. And the guy on your screen right now, they have this one red bottle of hot sauce, okay, that's on the counter. And it's like sort of a thin, generic sort of, somewhere around a Frank's, but like way better than Frank's, okay? And I was like, dude, this hot sauce has been the same hot sauce since I was a kid that I've been eating here. And I asked him, I was like, is there anything special about that hot sauce? And he's like, yeah, people come down here from Scarborough to buy this hot sauce. This hot sauce I've been making in my house for the last 25 years. So you go to this 2-for-1 and you see this red generic bottle of hot sauce. This guy on your screen's been making it in his fucking home for 25 years. Everyone thinks that this is just another 2-for-1. This isn't.
Yeah, still there.
I remember he got a little older.
Yeah.
He stopped couldn't count the change part. Yeah. That pizza was cold by the time I was holding it, by the way. I still finished
there's
it.
Michael.
Yeah, that's my goal. Yeah.
You remember why we did Big Brothers in the first place?
I wanted a male figure in your life. So
So there's this program in Toronto called Big Brothers, and that's how I met Michael. It's been a long time since we've seen each other, and I miss him. And it was basically like for people who were like in their late 20s, early 30s, didn't have kids, to take care of somebody who either didn't have their father around or... Michael was 28, I believe. He was doing his PhD in Toronto at UFT, University of Toronto. And he had just moved from Berkeley, where he did his undergrad in California. And he was in Big Brothers when he was down there, and then he did it again when he was here in Toronto. For big sisters, maybe didn't have a mother or didn't have any parents.
exactly.
And on the weekends, basically Michael would watch me while you were going to work.
Right.
Yeah. And I remember when I walked into Big Brothers and he was like lying there on the couch sideways, drinking a Diet Coke. Remember that? And I was like, this is my brother now.
Yeah.
Bro loves Diet Coke, by the way. He always kept my mind in the right place, you know?
Yeah,
So
you
it didn't
learned
get
a
too bad.
lot from him.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you met him.
So Michael, my big brother,
Can't watch this shit, man.
yeah, he came here to this park. We would hang out. I have that photo inside the kitchen of the house behind us where he was there for my birthdays. So yeah, he really helped. He kind of helped take the walls down for me a little bit, you know, make the world feel like something that I could go explore safely, like that it was meant for me. And like, I mean, I used to walk down these streets when I got a little older, and I thought, like, I'll never live in a house like that, you know, like I'll never be able to afford a house, because my brother had, you know, he was at the highest level of education and he was taking care of me and he was going on to be a professor. I think he gave me a lot of confidence to say that, like, I could achieve something like that in my life too. It's really weird thinking about Michael, because he was, you know, he was 28 when he started taking care of me. Like when I was 28, I was like playing video games, and like he was coming over to the women's shelter and like hosting pizza parties with all these kids and taking care of all of us. And it's just like, I don't know, one in a million, honestly.
He's a great
You know,
dad.
he kind of did Big Brothers because he was kind of learning how to be.
Two of his nephews are now both taller than me, and I knew them since before they were born. And I would go and visit him even after Big Brothers every year in the summer until before COVID. And actually, one of his nephews, Devin, or one of his sons, excuse me, Devin, came to the Paris Major and got to watch me cast at the Paris Major and got to come to the stadium. And he was in Copenhagen doing an exchange at a school there.
Be a dad for
Crazy.
himself because he wanted to have his own kids. And so he had me as a little brother. He had another one, Artie, in America when he lived in California.
Shout out to Artie, man. I got to meet Artie, and he had this photo from his wedding that was just so hilarious. Him and his wife are just both like, they're both into technology a lot, and they're both like super funny. And I just remember Artie has this photo from his wedding where he's like walking down the aisle, and he has a t-shirt on, and it's the t-shirt that has like, you know, like the man and the woman going to the bathroom sort of like signs, and underneath it just said game over.
When he was at
Fucking
Berkeley.
character, man.
And he used those two experiences to help him become a better father. Now he's raised two sons up who are traveling around the world in university and everything like that now too. And he was, you know, very much a father figure for me because no fucking way. Are you serious? No way, man. Are you fucking real? Holy shit. You drove here?
What?
Oh. How are you?
I'm good. You look good. I like your hair like that.
Bro, I had a Diet Pepsi, fucking traitor.
Great to see you, man.
Fuck you, Tom.
Fucking Tom. Fucking Tom, man. So this is wild because a few months ago, before we shoot this, Tom's like, you know, reaching out like, hey, let's get this together. And Tom, he's super busy and they're shooting a bunch of shit. And by the way, Chew Productions, these guys work so hard. They're flying into places, shooting for 2 days, leaving, editing the thing in a week, and then making like something insanely beautiful like this profile. I told Tom it would be great if we had a little extra money in the budget to like have my brother come down. And then, you know, he's shooting all this stuff. And then he's like, no, we can't do it. No money in the budget. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I put it out of my mind. And then what happens is Tom messages Maddie, my girlfriend. Maddie messages Devin, my nephew that she met at Paris, at the Paris major. Devin messages my brother, Michael. And then they set up a Zoom call with Michael and Tom. And they have to convince him that it's not like some kind of AI phishing scam. Because my brother's like old school and barely like has like a netbook that he uses to like browse the web. Okay. And then once because he can't contact me to verify. So then and then they flew him out for the second day of the shoot and set this all up. And I had no fucking idea.
Like it's Toronto, so you gotta have that area to take off your boots and your coat.
Yeah, the mudroom.
Yeah.
I don't know when they close this down. I mean, we almost said it was actually recently.
I believe it, actually.
Yeah.
Looking at it. And I think, and then you're up somewhere around here.
Yeah, I had the best view of the whole place on that balcony.
Because I just remember like the art in your room.
Yeah.
And that was like my big thing that I noticed.
I was just seeing this earlier. Obviously, there's a lot of like mental health issues at the women's shelter. You can just see all these crosswords that are just posted on the fence.
So this is where you snuck out?
Yes, this is the back of the backyard, and there was one fence post that was missing, and my 4-foot tall, 60-pound ass could just squeeze through sideways. And like I could fully, you know, I mean, I could hop this fence, I could take the front door and still be in the park within 2 seconds. But like in my imagination, this was like entering Narnia. I mean,
I love that.
I was like, else.
I loved everything about it, actually. You know, when I came in, Mohan's mom is so sweet. She's fantastic. And like, it was like,
you were the whitest guy that could eat the hottest curry. I remember you'd always come back with your Tupperware and ask for more.
That sounds right. That sounds exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you love my mom's food. So the same day I quit the butcher shop, I started my YouTube channel. I don't know what I was doing, but I knew I loved every minute I was on the computer playing. So in 2013, when the arms deal update happened, it was like August 13th or something, or August 26th or September. Yeah, it's August, I think. I saw that the player base jumped from like roughly like 20,000 to 35,000 average concurrent players. And I loved the skins right away too, which I guess that kind of makes me a skin cell. I just saw, I was like, this game is going to be huge. Like I just knew it. I was like, these are so cool. It makes it so, like, I love art. Like I just put art everywhere around me. And so like, I'd love like logging in every day, like trying new skins, and it made me want to play more. And like, I was just loved it. And I was like, this game's going to be massive. And I literally just like, I dropped everything. Like I was in University of Toronto as well, studying philosophy, and I was in my 3rd year and I was going to be a teacher. And I was like, I don't even have a second teachable. I don't have anything else I want to do. I was still a bad student up until that point. And one more year I would have graduated. I would have probably tried to become a teacher, and I wanted to be a high school teacher. And then I ended fucking becoming a fake YouTube movement coach. And that's when CSGO came out. Got completely hooked again. Yeah, for like 2 years, I was just making YouTube. And I actually did literally the last year of high school. I stayed 2 extra years over because I was fucking doing tons of bad shit. And then the last year I said, fuck it, I'm going to university. And how it works in Canada is if you get your last 6 out of your last 8 credits in grade 12 to the average that you need, you can get into like almost any school, you know, that's really good. And I got like my last 6 out of my last 8 credits, I got like a 86% average or something. And I got into U of T. And I was like, holy shit, I fucking turned this shit around. And then started playing CSGO after a couple of years of doing school. And I uninstalled Steam even before I got into university, because as soon as you put games in front of me, I was so addicted. I just could not look away. And I literally said to myself, I've got to either make money playing this game or I have to quit. And then as soon as I realized I can make money playing, I fucking dropped out. That's how I am. Like, I just always placed a massive bet on myself if I'm really into something. To videos. I used to have a whiteboard that I would tally up, literally tally, like in jail days. And I would count every subscriber that I had on this YouTube channel that you're watching on right now. And I remember looking at this whiteboard one day, and I had like I'd post my videos to Reddit, and I would send my videos, every single person on my Steam friends list, every time I upload a video, I would send them a link. I would never do anything like this anymore, by the way. But I knew that no one's going to care once I get big. So I just fucking did it. And it worked. And I got like a lot of feedback off Reddit. I got to the point where I knew on the Reddit front page, I knew exactly how many views my video would get, depending on what portion of the front page it was on. If it was in the top 10%, the top 20%, halfway down, bottom of the front page. And I knew exactly how many videos my YouTube video would get the next day because it took like that much time to tally up. I just had it down to a science. And I was like, I just tried to be everywhere and just kept uploading all these like movement videos. Then
and you're super busy.
Super busy, yeah.
You don't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you wake up.
I also remember I grabbed that whiteboard, I looked at it, and I said, I'm going to remember this day, looking at this whiteboard when I've made it.
You're from the bed to the chair to the chair to the bed.
Yeah. For the first couple thousand hours, I did not play anything but KZ. KZ is a movement game mode where you start on a typical timer, try to get to the top as fast as you can.
That's not going to work. What you need to do is crouch and then jump.
That's the only thing I cared about. I didn't have a girlfriend for years. I stopped hanging out with my friends. I played KZ every single day. And then I started making movement tutorials.
Hi, I'm Launders, and my original plan for this video was to show you guys how to...
I made the first B-hop tutorial on YouTube for CSGO. And then for every single mechanic, every skill jump in the game, I made a video. It became my brand entirely, the movement guy.
To be honest, we didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know what you did.
Besides YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't play Counter-Strike, right? So.
And then one of my viewers said, why don't you try doing interviews? I wanted to get into this a bit more, a lot more actually, but there's so much stuff that had to be cut out of the video because, like, obviously it's already 26 fucking minutes. But Taylor, who now does all of the Boxer Movement Club designs, runs the company alongside me for all these years. He's the guy who was one of my first 10 viewers of my stream, and him and Nathan were two people that I met as my first like 10 viewers of my stream. And I always hired people and work with people that I know, that I make content with, that I know from CS, you know, always people from Counter-Strike that I know. And I said one day on my stream, I just said, hey, it'd be cool to try to do interviews. And Taylor said, I'll come pick you up. And he literally drove up from like Maryland or Virginia or something and picked me up at my apartment. And I had never met any esports person before that, and took me to my first event, which was ESWC 2015. And that's when I did the interview with Semphis, where he said we were all on Adderall at the like Cologne or whatever. And and then that was in the New York Times and all that shit. And then Taylor, who I did those interviews with, we went, and him and Nathan and him did a bunch of interviews at a bunch of different events, and eventually got the job at Yahoo. That's the part that kind of gets lost here. So I was like, okay, I had never been to an esports event. I had never done anything outside of YouTube. We drove to ESWC. I got a press badge, and I did this interview with Semphis where he basically said we were all on Adderall at this event.
I don't even care. We were all on Adderall. Like, I don't even give a fuck.
And this became like national headlines. And New York Times didn't even reach out for permission to put it in there, but I would have said yes. Then I got a job offer at Yahoo.
A special announcement today. Joining us on the Yahoo esports team now is Launders. How's it going, Launders?
You're like, hey man, Yahoo's flying me out to LA. I'm gonna live there for a bit. We're like, oh, we're like, that's awesome, because none of us had jobs or could think of having jobs that would take us out of this country.
And then my friend told me, you should try casting, Daniel. Why not do more things? I literally, and so I said that here, but I was already casting, but I didn't cast with Connor until I was in LA. After that, I was stuck in LA. Because I got caught up in a visa problem myself. It was extremely stressful. It was the first time I really had like a panic attack or any kind of anxiety. I didn't even know what that was. And I don't even joke. I know everyone uses those words today. In 2017, I didn't know what anxiety was. I never experienced anything like that. And this is when Yahoo, got bought by Verizon, and we knew we were going to lose our jobs. I called a lawyer and I paid $8,000 to put myself in the visa process to get an O1 to live in America and work, even though there was no guarantee that it would go through, because the law was if I was in the visa process, I could stay. If not, I would have literally had to leave the next day after getting fired from Yahoo. And we only found out from our boss, who kind of hinted at it because they weren't allowed to tell us outright, that Verizon bought Yahoo and we were going to get let go, like the entire esports part of the company. So I spent the money I got in the visa process, and then I had a work permit to allow me to leave while I was in the process. That got lost in the mail. Either USPS or the government didn't mail it out. I couldn't find it through tracking, and I literally had to turn down events while I was living out there. So I was stuck in the US. I wasn't working at Yahoo. I luckily had gotten a severance, but I basically was in limbo. I didn't know if the next day I would find out my visa book got denied. I didn't know if I would have to move back to Toronto right after. I wasn't allowed to go cast events because you weren't allowed to leave America while you were in the visa process. I was just fucking stuck. And that's when I first got anxiety for the first time. It was so bad. Like I couldn't even sleep or anything. And I'm somebody who just doesn't get stressed out. Like I always have insanely high stress tolerance, but at one point, eventually it did build up, and I was just like couldn't handle it anymore. And then I got out of the visa process. I rented back in Toronto. I did Zotac Masters Hong Kong, and then moved back to Toronto in 2018, 2019, and then went back on the road. And it was because I got an email. I think it was from Nicholas Estrup from Blast, or Frederick from Blast, and they did their 2017 event, and then they had Blast Istanbul in September 2018 is their first event, and they emailed me and they said, we'd love to have you and Connor cast our first 3 events. And they were looking for a duo that they could believe in, that were sort of unpolished, that they could grow with. And that's the reason that we cast at Blast. They gave us their first 3 events, and then we've done every single Blast event since that event in 2018. I have casted every single Blast event. Connor has had to miss a couple. I have casted every single one, except for that one in 2017. That was one day where all this tech issues and stuff before they really started up their circuit. And at Blast Istanbul, I remember they came to us in the green room and they said, hey, can you come talk to you? It was before the finals. And they gave us their finals. And we were there with James and DDK and like Sato and Henry. And like we were there with like all the top casters. And they gave us the grand finals, their first event. And now we've done like every single one of their grand finals. Because Blast took a bet on us because they wanted to grow with someone who wasn't there yet. And they made a good risk. So really hated the thought.
I hated being called a commentator because we used to play games so much.
Yeah.
And I thought commentators were shit at the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know that reputation they have?
Yeah.
I was casting CS Summit in 2017, and that's when I got the email. I think Nicholas was watching the Summit, and then I was just like funny on the couch or something, and then he's like, "Why don't we try these guys?"
So I hated being associated with that. For like 8 years, I never let anyone call me a commentator. Only a YouTuber. I couldn't stand it.
But like I do every chance I get, for some reason, I tried it. The first event I ever did was with Matt, or Sadokist, at LAN ETS.
Hi, I'm Launders, and this is Sadokist, and we're gonna.
That was the biggest Canadian local LAN held in Montreal, and Matt had made a post on ESCA looking for someone to co-cast with him if they were able to make it there and were willing to work for free. I made a private YouTube video of me casting one half of a demo by myself and DM'd it to him.
I really liked Max's.
He replied, "You're a terrible commentator, but you have a good voice. If you can get here, you can cast." I got on a megabus to Montreal. We were given 2 tickets for hot dogs each day.
Are we ready to go?
Casted from 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. and slept in the classrooms on the floor. No shower. I had to lend Matt my spare panties as a pillow because I packed one and he didn't.
I guess, yeah, I can give a few shout outs to Launders, who's actually my co-caster. It's his first event ever, but he's really good.
Okay.
So,
he knows a lot about his game, but
yeah, he knows a ton. I mean, I was really impressed. I don't know where he came out of the woodwork. I've never seen him before, but he's really good.
After that, I got noticed by Sivo. Then I got noticed by DreamHack. Did DreamHack Austin, and opportunities kept coming in from there.
But like, did we know what you were doing? Not really. I think it took me 4 years to realize what casting was.
Yeah.
Like,
you became a little enigmatic in the sense that like where are you now? Well, I'm in Copenhagen. Well,
Yeah.
how about, like, you want to chill next week? Yeah, but I got to drop through London, France, and then I'm like, oh, okay, like, and then we just kind of, I was like, wow, YouTube like really takes you out everywhere.
Maybe we should try YouTube.
We got so drunk in Choshin, so we were just popping open these like amazing bottles of sake and just drinking just to get B-roll. It was like, that was good time. And what did you think about that? Like I wasn't making any money at first, and I was just staying home.
I know that's how it is.
Yeah.
You start off not making money, you learn, and you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
But you just trusted me, like.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
How it works.
Yeah. You still tell your friends I do IT.
Yeah. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. Still to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But does it make sense now?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you did all that. It paid off.
It paid off. Yeah.
On a long run.
10 years later, we go to Paris, as Connor says, for CSGO's final farewell. And I have the highest honor you can have as a commentary duo, casting a major grand final. But not just any, the final CSGO major grand final.
Yeah, I mean it's been a long road. Obviously, you know, me and Connor are that duo, and we really have like gone through everything together. You know, this is the highest. People have no fucking idea how much me and Connor have gone through. Learning about how to do this, learning about each other, highs and lows, like everything, bro. Like we've had every conversation you could possibly think of in terms of how to get better casting with each other, how to improve, how he should improve, how I should improve, the feedback together when we prepare lines, how we prepare lines, how we get ready for big games, how we like everything. We've been all over the world, been in 30 fucking countries because of this. It's insane. You know, fucking Hong Kong, Lisbon, Copenhagen, like it's actually insane. It's actually insane. This is from Paris, and all the people had their phones out in the background before the final started. This is crazy. In the Accor Arena, that many people, vitality in the grand finals. Honor that you can get as a commentator to do a major final. There's no bigger game than that, right? It's a Super Bowl. No one else, I don't think anyone else has commentated now as long as us together as well. Even Anders and Semler, who are like the GOATs, like in terms of the original voices of the game. Anders will always be remembered as the voice of CSGO, but I don't think anyone's commentated together as long as us. For everybody watching, this is the last Counter-Strike major final, so we just want to do it justice, you know?
As commentators, all we can do is enhance the moment, you know, make it better or worse, but don't ruin it. That's our only job, you know, don't ruin that moment. And that was the responsibility that we had, and I just remember feeling it afterwards.
I was fucking, after this, it was special beyond words, and I remember not even realizing how stressed out I was until after the game happened.
I remember when we first met and you told me you...
Here I didn't say this, but I grabbed his shoulders, I said, we beat the game, we beat the game. The game happened.
I remember when we first met and you told me you were an esports broadcaster for Counter-Strike. And I was like, what the fuck is Counter-Strike? And then he invited me.
That's how you know I got game, because I still survived that.
I was like, all right then. And then I went to Paris.
I met Maddie was out with Chessbra. You know Chessbra? I met Maddie when I was out with Chessbra one day. We were out clubbing and I met her at an after hours at like 2 a.m. And then, yeah, so she has no idea what like Counter-Strike or esports is or at all. But she's honestly like the most amazing person. But yeah. Yeah, they're Paris when we casted the finals. I was in the hotel room afterwards. I was naked. I was in the fetal position on the bed, no sheets on, and I just didn't want to talk to anybody. Now, even Maddie was there. I just was like, I didn't even want to be touched. I was just like so stressed out, and it was just like, and I had no idea because I don't really like get stressed out coming into a moment. I'll never get stressed out in my life. I'm chill as fuck. You know what I mean? But after this, I realized like how much stress I had coming into it. And then afterwards, I felt it all. And I was just like, I need to fucking chill. And I remember we went to the after party, which was on this little boat in the Seine, or whatever the fuck it's called. And I saw Connor in the alleyway on the way there, eating Five Guys, sitting against a fence by himself in the dark. And it was like kind of chilly. And I just remember thinking, oh, I'm so sorry we found you. I just remember thinking, I'm so sorry, bro. I know what you're going through right now. I know you just want to be alone. And we still had to go to that after party and talk to everybody and everything like that, but we were just done, cooked.
Paris, and that was the major finals. The first time I actually saw him cast in front of a crowd, and I was like standing in the crowd of like 15,000 people, and I was like, oh, like this is what you do. This is Counter-Strike. And
Obviously, I was super in love with Maddie, so her seeing me cast at Paris in the grand finals, as much as this was about Counter-Strike as well, it was like equally as special. I was like, no way she gets to see, this is her first event that she gets to see, and I'm casting the major grand final.
It was really amazing to see you.
Commentary is something that I wasn't made to do. You know, I think when I was younger, I was a very closed off, reserved person. But I'm glad I got the privilege of being able to do it, because I don't know how I would have been able to learn this kind of thing about myself.
I was a fucking awful commentator, but I'm pretty good now, and I'm proud of myself for that. It took a ton of work inside the job and outside to become the person I am today. But as stupid as it sounds, I always thought I was cool, even though I definitely wasn't. Always believe in yourself, guys. If you don't, every year you should look back and cringe at the person you were. You know what I mean? You got to be growing all the time. But that doesn't also mean that when you look back 10 years ago, you're not proud of that and how much progress that you made, okay? The only thing that's consistently important throughout all those periods of your life is you believe in them. Whatever you think, whatever your ideology is at the time, whatever book you read that changed your life, whatever like philosophy you currently have, whatever thing you're just fucking, you're vegan one year, you're fucking atheist one year, you're fucking, you know, and then the next year you're Roman Catholic, and the next year you're on a meat diet, next, whatever. No matter where you are on the spectrum, anytime, just believe in it 100%. Just go all in, okay? It's always going to be embarrassing later, but you got to believe in it, whatever you think. And if you don't believe in it, then change what you think to something you believe in. That's something I realized looking back. I'm so, like, it's hard for me to watch all this old footage because I'm like, man, if I knew the shit that I know now, you know? But at the same time, the reason I got here is because I believed in myself all the time.
Yeah, I'm so proud of him. Yeah. Every birthday, Mother's Day, I get a gift from him. Christmas Day. Other than that, he sent me to trips to all over the world. Like, what more can a mother ask? You know, he's the best son.
I'm a good son now. I'm a very good son now. But I wasn't when I was younger. I was a degenerate, and I would lose my mom's Metro pass. I would not come home, and I would be high all the time, and I was not a good son. But so I'm making up for it now, okay? I don't know. Everyone says they got the best mom in the world, but it's actually me. I had the best mom in the world.
I remember very distinctly, I was walking at Young and Dundas, and I was wearing the sweater you gave me. Some guy...
Boxer?
Some guy stopped me, he's like, Boxer? You know him? Oh my, I love his stuff. And he was talking to me like pure fan, and I didn't actually know what you were... I'm like, that's my friend. I love Mohan. Like, I didn't know where else to take that.
Yeah, and that must be awkward for you guys. I remember I brought Daniel to Launders Land, and I introduced him as my IRL best friend. And he's like, what the fuck do you mean IRL, bro? Hey, but I need you to know right now, this is my best friend. We are not the same.
I didn't know what IRL meant. It's like URL.
I still today have the attitude that we're unbelievably lucky to do what we're doing. And I just can't relate to some of the conversations I'm in with esports friends, because all I can think is I never want to go back to the meat freezer. The tattoo I'm getting today is to remember a moment when I worked at the St. Lawrence Market. So I'm getting this butcher knife to commemorate my time at that last sort of real job that I had before I became a YouTuber. It's a butchering knife from Elden Ring to stay in line with all of my Souls tattoos that I have. This is also from Elden Ring. This is Nameless King. This is Soul of Cinder. So that's why I do so many things, because it's really fun and it's just an unreal job to have. So why not push it to my imagination's limit? Starting Boxer, doing the Launders show, hosting watch parties and the Launders Land to pump up the Toronto scene that I grew up in are equally as important to me as the commentary I do. And I'm genuinely just really proud to make anything for Counter-Strike. It's the best game ever made.
She actually memorized one of my intros.
Yeah, I did. Are you gonna make me do it?
I'm gonna make you try.
It goes, some say they don't feel the pressure. Others do, and we see it. But tonight, under the bright lights of the Royal Arena, we will find out. So Copenhagen, brace the pressure!
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Some feel pressure, and we see it. But under the bright lights in the Royal Arena, we will find out. So Copenhagen, raise that pressure!
Nice to see you. Oh, thank you, you too.
Oh yeah, it's
Nice
a
to
freaking
see you.
double surprise. Because my mom didn't even know Michael was in town because we shot at her place the day before. So then I got to fucking shock my mom by bringing Michael over. Oh my god. I'm never watching this again. I can't watch this anymore. So it's amazing. Oh, I loved it. Thank you so much, Tom. Tom, Becky, Jake, True Productions, ESL, thank you for making this for me. It's amazing. I mean, I feel like most people never get anything like this. I don't even believe I have a top 50th percentile story to tell, but I'm just so grateful to be able to. And it was very, it was very uncomfortable to know everyone knows everything about me in this sense, but it's also, I'm proud of who I am and everything. And I'm just so happy people know, like, the more important people in my life. And yeah, I mean, I feel like you only get one of these, if any, right? And so I'm really happy that it was Tom, who also directed the Launders show, who's also done a ton of profiles, who did CS2 Memories, and will do a lot of great things for sure in his career. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed that. I also hope that you've watched it first, just as is, without me pausing every single time. And yeah, code launders for Ace Zone, best CS2 headphones in the market. I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll upload some more stuff really soon. Okay, some more Counter-Strike stuff really soon. Cheers.